Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the weight of the Stumpjumper 2021 alloy. So I'm going to walk you through what I've got on this bike so you know kind of how to compare it. I'll tell you what was stock, what wasn't. And then I'm going to compare it to my 2014 Stumpjumper, which is also an alloy. It's a comp, so it had some little bit higher end components on it when I got it. Still an awesome bike. I'll talk you through the mods that I've done to this one, and then we'll compare the weights. There's not a lot of information about the weight of this bike on the website. So I'm gonna give you a sense of, once you set your tires up the way you want it, maybe a handful of upgrades, what the weight is that you'll be sitting at on this bike. All right, let's do a walk around of each of these bikes, and then I'm gonna get into the weight of the 2021, and I'll compare the weight to the 2014 comp so that you get a sense of the difference between the two bikes and the weight. So here's what I've done to the 2021. I went ahead and converted the tires to tubeless. So this has a massive tire on it. I mean, these Butchers it's just a big tire. It's got a lot of tread on it, and I'll take these off and weigh them, and we'll do a comparison on that. But just for today's video, it's a lot of tire. But I've gone ahead and converted those, pulled the tubes out that came in it from the factory, converted them to tubeless. Super easy. I can show you how to do that later. Other mods that I've got on this bike are, I got my phone holder and a little light holder, should be pretty minimal. I've also converted the factory brakes that it comes with, which I'll do another video on that, on the critical updates that you're gonna wanna do. But I've got a 4-piston XT in the front, that's on a 203. And then I've got a 2-piston in the back, and that's on a 180, sorry. And then other mods are, I went ahead and dropped it comes with a spline in it, and it's super heavy. I'm gonna do a weight comparison just on that in my top upgrades video, but I went ahead to the dub bottom bracket, and I think that's a big weight savings. It almost probably overcomes the weight savings for the little bit better brakes in the 4-piston in the front, and putting doing the tubeless conversion and everything else I've got on the handlebars. So I think that's huge. The spline that comes in this bottom bracket is really heavy. I'm gonna weigh that, and I'll put that in the video. And then we'll talk a little bit more in the top upgrades video. So that's basically what I've done to this bike. It's big differences between the two is you've got a dropper post. I think the stock is pretty heavy dropper post. So we're gonna take that out and we're gonna weigh it. And then the 2014 doesn't have a dropper post, so big difference there. I'm running a Dissector 29 2.6 in the front on this bike, and then a 29 2.4 Recon in the back on this bike. I've recently dropped the 2x drivetrain and went to a SRAM NX on this, and went with the rear derailleur, converted it to dub, and then I've got an NX crankset on it. Other than that, I'm running the P&W riser bar range on the front of this guy, which is just to give a little bit of height to it. It's on a SLX brake. Now let's talk about weight. So the weight between these two bikes, you're talking about 35.4 on the 2021 and 29.4 on the 2014. So pretty big weight differential. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, aside from the bottom bracket upgrade, which was a big weight savings, I'm gonna figure out exactly what that is and show you. I'm thinking these tires are pretty heavy. I'm gonna switch up the tire combo that I'm running on this bike to get the weight down. I think we can shave some weight there, but you're talking about a pretty big weight difference between these two bikes. And you know, you can really feel 5 or 6 pounds. So this is the other thing I got to tell you is this is an S3. So you're talking about a little bit of weight gain if you go up in sizes on these bikes. So consider that in this, but it's you know, you can feel the difference on the trail between this bike and the 2014. The bottom bracket, here's the factory installed power spline and SRAM SX bottom bracket and crankset. And you're talking about 2.3 pounds. And so I went to the GX cranks and the dub bottom bracket on this. You're talking about 1 pound of weight savings. So that more than pays for the conversion to tubeless tires. If there's any weight gain there, more than pays for your phone holder. And you know, probably if I picked up a little weight by going to a 4-piston XT brake in the front, I paid for that. And so you're talking 35.4 as it sits right here versus 29.4 as it sits right here on the 2014. So depending on what weight bike you're coming from, it's a pretty significant weight change. And so you're probably gonna feel that. So we'll talk about some more upgrades to do to this bike for sure. Different tire combinations, gonna get the weight down a little bit more. But after that, you're really talking about front fork, carbon components on maybe your seat and your handlebar, and then whether or not you really need a dropper post or a lighter dropper post to get that weight down. I'd love to be below 30 pounds or at 30 pounds with this bike. I think with the geometry and the setup of this bike, if I can get it at 30 or below, it's gonna be really fun to ride. So I think we can all agree that weight isn't everything. So when you think about your bike, the geometry matters, the suspension matters, the grip matters, your tire combo, braking power. It's all a lot of personal preference. So you really have to ride a bike to get a sense of how the weight shakes out for you. But what I would encourage you to do is compare the weight that I gave you today to the bike that you're riding today and figure out like how big a difference is that for you. And then think about what are the modifications, what are the upgrades that I would have to do to get this bike to a weight that you would feel comfortable with. I will tell you, I can feel a little bit of a weight difference between the two bikes. It still feels a little heavy for me. So I'll continue to kind of tweak on it and get that weight down. Next thing is probably gonna be a tire combination, but I'm gonna do a top 3 upgrades for this bike video, so watch out for that. I think when I finish that top 3, it's gonna get the weight down a little bit farther and I'll be in a real comfortable range and have a bike that has a weight that I'm comfortable with and a really nice geometry that I can really, really, really enjoy. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.